Well, okay, here it's getting ready to go live, so I'll
Okay.
be right with you. And you can go to my Facebook and share it if you want while I'm doing all this,
Oh,
or you can
great.
share it later, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Facebook people, hi. It's me, Linda Marcus Smith again with Comic Spot interview number 945. And I'm so glad that I stuck with it through thick and thin. And trust me, there was a lot of thin with this. I love doing these interviews. It's just kind of like I don't do a lot of preparation. They send me an intro. I say the intro. We talk. That's all. So kick back. If you're in the studio audience, ask some questions. A lot of times nobody listens live, and that's okay. You can always catch it on my YouTube. I'd like to say you have to subscribe, but you don't. I'd like you to subscribe. So it's my YouTube is comedian Linda Marcus Smith, because that's my name. You have to put the comedian in there, or God knows where you're going to wind up. Anyway, so yeah, this is all for you guys at home because I've seen far too many people in 8 years go to a comedy club, moan and groan and bitch after that it wasn't their style, their cup of tea, they didn't like the person. So now you get a chance to find out who somebody is. Do they like beagle puppies or reptiles? Do they like to sing and dance or are they more of a rapper? You get to know details. So you can decide, do I want to follow them on social media? Do I want to go catch their comedy? Maybe not. Maybe I do. Whatever. It's all up to you. This is for you. Kick back. You don't even have to put your pants on. You don't have to pay. It's all covered. This is free. So click subscribe. Make me happy. I've done 945 of these. You know how many subscribers I have? 350. I'm failing. You want me to fail? Keep it up. I'm failing. Anyway, today, before I do my wonderful interview with my wonderful, said that wrong. Before I have my wonderful guest, Anna Marie Hamel on, I got to say hello to my sponsor. Shout out to the Veterans of Comedy. I'm a military vet. Yeah, you heard it. Bam, bam, bam. Not a baby killer. Don't even go there with me. Yeah, I served in the military. And there's a group of comedians that go around the world and sling jokes. Yeah. So next time you're thinking to yourself, you lose your ever loving mind and you go, you know, what would be really good? If somebody who used to, I don't know, uh, protect our country would come and not protect us and not care about socially collect crap and just say what's on their mind and cut loose. You go to veteransofcomedy.com, you click and you scroll clear down. And when you get down to the Dead Sea Scrolls, that's where you'll find me. Hire me. Don't hire the men. They get enough work, right, ladies? I'm kidding around, Will C. Don't sue me. Will Clifton started it. It's a hit. It's a great organization. Hire any of the comics you like on there. That's the bottom line. Enough for the PSAs. Am I right, folks? Now for the wonderful guest that I have today. And I know it's going to be a wonderful interview, but not because of me, because of her. I can't wait to get to know her. I ask everybody to send me their intros because I have researched and come up talking about some totally different Anna Marie Hamel, and you don't want that. So she sent me her intro. I'm going to read it. Here we go. Anna Marie Hamel is a proud Las Vegas native, comedian, host, and co-producer of Baja Beats. I have to make sure I say it right. Baja Beat, a comedy and music showcase, monthly, and it's a hit. People are talking about it. The daughter of a cocktail waitress, we have that in common, and a dice dealer. She has that wacky wit that only the classic Vegas upbringing can provide. She's not afraid to have fun, be silly, and perhaps foolish at inappropriate moments. Oh, she has what it takes, is what she's telling me. And use her humor to lift the spirits of all those who know her. Oh, let me go back over that one. And to use her humor to lift the spirits of all those who know her. Wow. Anna Marie, also called Banana by many, loves to bring joy and laughs to anyone who will listen to her both on and off stage. You guys, you are so welcome. You get to know her, Anna Marie Hamel. Yay!
Thank
Woo!
you.
Thank you so much for putting up with that long intro. Oh my
I
gosh, I'm so
know. I'm a
glad you're.
writer. I can't help it.
No, I meant, the whole thing I did, not
Yeah.
just your intro, but like the whole thing. Hi, thank you for
Hi.
coming on, Anna
Oh,
Marie.
thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
You're here in Vegas. I
Yep.
live just east of the Strip, south of Paradise. I'm
Gotcha.
south of Sahara. Whereabouts roughly do you
Well,
live?
I was born on the east side, but now I spend most of my time on the southwest side because I'm hanging out with my boyfriend a lot. Um, but yeah, I'm a mom of a 13-year-old, so I kind of go back and forth between the east side and the southwest side.
You look so sane.
Oh, I know, right? Humor really has been what keeps me going, honestly. That's what I turn to in the craziest times, and I've learned patience over the years.
It it
I
takes
mean, if you have to,
years.
if you're mom, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you have a son?
Yeah, he's 13. And actually he's probably just as crazy funny as I am. Like we trade cartoon character impressions. Like I can do Blue from Blue's Clues, "Burr, burr, burr," and SpongeBob, "Good morning, Patrick." And I found out he can do Mickey Mouse and Squidward. So we're gonna go into an act maybe in the future. I'm not sure.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my
Thanks.
gosh. When you're on stage, do you do some of those voices?
I have before. One of my lines that I say is that if my boyfriend is not good or if he's not behaving, then when we're alone in the dark, I'm gonna do bad impressions that he won't like Janice from Friends. Oh my God, Gary, or even worse, I can do Urkel. Hey, big guy, did I do that? So he said not to do that, and he won't even listen to my Pat from SNL. So.
Wow. So somebody's watching. It might be your friend, Joshua
Oh,
Ka-
awesome.
Kabat.
Oh, yes, I know him. Yeah, he's really cool. I met him when I started dating on Facebook dating. He was one of the guys I hung out with before I met my boyfriend. So he's really cool.
Super.
He's a dice dealer too, I think. He's definitely a dealer. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. So talk to me about what it was like, if you don't mind, going through the pandemic in your family life.
So yeah, COVID wasn't that great for me. But I decided to make a change. Um, so I got divorced, um, which worked out really well for me. But I think my divorce is what I was hoping my marriage would be. So it worked out. But that's sort of when I started being real serious about comedy. I'd been sort of writing for 20 years to be a comedian, but I never actually went full force until I decided that I wanted my life to go in a different direction. So the first headlining show I ever did was with TC Morgan, TC the Captain Morgan. He's really great. He had the show in Mesquite that I headlined a couple years ago. So that was really fun.
Wow. So you're a
Yeah,
headlining comedian.
I have. Yeah.
Wow. What's that like?
Um, Kind of scary because that was my first time, but I don't have any fear of I don't have any stage fright at all. In fact, as in my master's program, I actually taught speech, Com 101 at UNLV for 2.5 years. So I'm pretty flexible when it comes to speaking in front of people. I have no problem with that. So that really helps. I just needed to be funny. So that was my main goal.
So, having gone through different levels of speech, certain things that other comedians do must drive you up the wall with their lack of good articulation. Like me, I have
Oh,
false teeth. And if you listen closely, you can hear my teeth click.
oh, really? I didn't notice that. I tend not to, I tend not to concentrate on the negative. I really just tend to look at the positives, you know. Maybe I'm thinking, oh, hey, if they don't articulate or I didn't understand a joke, I will definitely say, I really like that joke, but it took me a minute because I couldn't hear it properly. So maybe like on a make sure it's clear. I try to help other comics. I want everybody to be successful in their own way, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. That's the
Yeah.
perfect way to be. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would think that you'd be astute to different things. People, you know, um, like
Oh,
like
you're talking about
extraneous
verbalized
words.
pauses.
Yeah,
Yeah, like verbalized pauses, like and yeah, I definitely can hear those. I do that too, so that's something I'm constantly working on myself.
me too. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good to be, focused. You're trying to improve on yourself. That keeps you out of a lot of the comedy drama.
that's totally true. Yeah.
Yeah.
um yeah, if I go to open mics or whatever, I try to make friends with the people there and see what talent that I can book from my show too. So I'm always very excited to hang out with other comedians. They're always a fun time.
Yes, absolutely. So, what's your favorite thing to pick up? Like when you go looking for talent, you're out watching a show, say the Tuesday mic at Wise Guys.
Hmm.
What are you looking for that fits your venue?
Well, I actually don't really have something I'm looking for. As long as they're having a good time on stage, that's really my favorite thing. If the comic themselves is having a good time, then I know that my audience will definitely have a great time with being there and listening to them, because that's how I judge my DJ friends too. They're up there dancing and enjoying the music, then everybody's up there dancing and enjoying the music. It's going to be a blast no matter what.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, in back in time when you were growing up, you were
Yeah.
little Anna Marie. Were you quiet? Were you the life of the party at your house, at school? Who were
I,
you?
I think I think that honestly I was more quiet when I was younger. I was more of like sort of the wise old one who's a little kid just listening and observing the world. I know this because in the third grade, my teacher, Mrs. Soley, called my mom and asked if we spoke English as our first language. So I'm pretty sure I was pretty quiet in the third grade anyway. But I don't think I shut up these days, that's for sure.
So you grew how many brothers and sisters did you have growing up?
Oh, that's a whole funny story. So I have one full sister. My mom and dad. She was actually my dad's fourth wife,
Wow.
and he's on his sixth now. I'm hoping he's like going to be 77. That's the last one. She's awesome. But I have three half brothers and one half sister, and they're from three different other moms. So yeah, it's a it's quite the family, but they're all trying in their own ways, and my brothers are all different versions of my dad, so I think that's kind of funny. And my half sister is pretty cool too. She's local actually. All but one of my siblings are local, so that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my parents, they got divorced when I was in seventh grade. My
Gotcha.
mom had a total of three marriages, and so did my dad.
Oh,
So I
gotcha.
know what you're talking about. Definitely. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you go through grade school, you're kind of quiet.
Hmm.
And what were you good at in school?
Well, actually, I was a trained dancer. My mom had my sister and I in ballet, jazz, tap, modern, musical comedy, which I think is where I learned to be silly, because my dance teacher, I went to the Rainbow School of Dance, which used to be on Mojave in East Charleston on the east side there. Um, and we would put on these musical comedies where no matter what character I was asked to play, whether it's the villain or the old granny in um, oh, the one with the corncob pipes. Now I can't think. I was Mammy. Anyways, I can't. Little Abner. Yeah, I did that
Oh,
musical when I
okay.
was growing up too. I did Grease. I did a collection of different ones. I've played villains. I've played little like heroes, and we danced, and it was all up to Vicky Anthony, who is now Vicky Hamilton, and she put together these productions. She actually has her daughter run Rainbow School of Dance, Rainbow Connection competition, dance competition in California now, which is really cool. So, but I mean, I grew up with a whole second set of friends. You know, there were friends at school, but there was my real friends who I performed with, which I loved. We were
Oh,
in so many different dance classes and stuff. When it came time for my sister and I to do the recital, um, the head of the studio, Vicky, would always have to go through the numbers to make sure we can change between our outfits, between our numbers. Oh my gosh, it was so silly, but it was really fun.
that's something else. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So that took you through high school?
That took me through high school pretty much, and then I just focused on college. I actually loved humor forever. I have a college degree from UNLV in marketing, and my major was advertising. So my communication degree is basically, I studied humor and advertising the whole time I did any kind of papers. It was always about funny things or funny people, or I even did my journalism and media studies thesis on humor and advertising. So
So have you thought of being a contributor for a news organization?
Um, I have I have not pursued that, but what I really want to do is and what I do now is I tutor at the College of Southern Nevada part-time. So I'm a writing and a speech tutor over there. So I love that. I'm at the Cheyenne campus Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I mean Tuesday, Thursday, and oh my goodness, I'm tripping over my words. I'm so excited. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, I tutor over there because they have free tutoring for all students at the College of Southern Nevada, which is awesome. So I love doing that. I get to help people avoid stage fright and speech anxiety. So that's a total bliss thing for me. I love to help people to get over that standing in front of people, because I remember how nervous it was when I was doing my first speech in comm, you know. But I've always had the bug. I just never really pursued it. I think I was sort of going to go into writing funny commercials at one point, but I never did follow up with that because I fell in love with college. I fell in love with education. So I just kept doing that.
That's super. So you had the funny come out of you.
Yeah.
Tell me, where did the funny come out of?
Oh my gosh. Every time it seems I go on vacation, no matter what, it's always some crazy adventure, some wacky story, something like that. I mean, I just need to start writing screenplays, I think, to be honest with you, because some of these adventures are crazy. Like I think I had a better, crazier RV trip across country in 2001 than was on Robin Williams' RV, movie. And I had the craziest experience with being a COVID nomad in April of 2021 with my boyfriend, because we both really couldn't go home. So we were sort of stranded, and we had COVID and we didn't know what to do. So we rented an RV and drove across the country, trying not to talk to anybody or having contact with anyone, because we got the best deal on an RV. It was cheaper than getting a hotel room.
Wow.
So yeah, just really
On
weird
that
stuff.
trip across the country, did you do comedy?
I didn't, because I had COVID, so I wanted to be careful. But I did learn that if you're going to be put in an ER overnight, you want to be near Aspen, Colorado, because every hospital there is like a ski lodge. It's so beautiful. They have better corner suites than I've seen in some of the hotels. It's nuts. Yeah. So, crazy.
So where in your life did you start having comedy come out of you? Because in grade school, not so much.
Yeah.
Did dance
I think
start
in high
making you?
school, yeah, dance, and then in high school. And every time I would write, it seemed like there was always something funny I had to say when I was writing an essay or when I was doing homework for high school or whatever. And then I got involved with a little bit of the theater, but backstage. Um, and then I was also in high school. I went to Bishop Gorman High School, and I was in Harmony Express, which is a dancing and singing group there too. So we would do performances in California and all over in Nevada and stuff too, which was really fun. So I think I've always been on stage or trying to, be in the spotlight of some sort. I just didn't realize that I had so many things that were crazy in my life to talk about, just a plethora of peculiarities. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure when it was that I decided that was what I was going to be, but I've always known I was going to use humor in my life and have it be an integral part of what I do.
Okay, so here's a question I'm sure nobody has ever asked of you before at all.
Okay.
Who's your favorite comedian?
um actually, if we're talking of probably old all time, I would say like Dick Van Dyke and Bob Newhart, actually, because they, right? I just love them, and even Penny Marshall, because they were just sort of awkward and didn't care about looking silly or you know not having everything go right, but it was always kind of fun, and they just sort of did their thing. I remember hearing an interview about Bob Newhart where he was talking about people asking him, "Well, do you purposely stutter?" And he said, "No. Do you think I want to talk like this?" But you just, if you're just yourself and you just tell your stories, I think if they're funny, people are going to laugh.
You know what? You're touching on something that I find pretty fascinating. You're touching on being authentically funny on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people get on stage and feel like they have to fabricate or accentuate a little quirk and make it into a persona, or some people fake an entire persona,
Yeah.
like Gilbert Godfrey.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't his persona at all. And other people just want to be who they are, and they're digging so deep to let everything that's real come out. So it sounds like your style is the latter, to have fun but be yourself.
Yeah. And I was listening, and I'm going to see Kevin Hart tonight. I'm very excited. I'm taking my son. And but I was listening to his autobiography, because that's something I love to do, is listen to the autobiographies of other comedians and comedians. And he was saying that he started his career as Kev a little bastard. He had this whole persona that he did too. And another comedian said, "No, dude, you have to just be yourself and tell stories from your real life and be you." And that's when he really started being successful, but it took a lot longer to build up a fan base than he was used to. So I just, so I always take note of how other people do it and what it takes, because they already been through it. They know. I listen, I listen, and I take heed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what are some of, like when was the first time you got on stage? Where was
Oh,
that?
that went terrible. Oh,
Tell us
yeah. I
about it.
decided.
We love to hear other people suffer.
Oh, yes. See, the first time I decided I was going, I just out of a whim, like it must have been like 6 or 7 years ago now, decided that I was going to um, be the only comic at this coffee shop. I was at the Madhouse coffee shop, and it was the first time they ever had anything like this. So they were doing this open mic, and come to find out, not only am I the only comic who's going to speak, but everybody else is reading books or telling like spoken word poems and talking about like really violent problems that happened in their life. So I did not know what to expect. Plus, I didn't know my audience, which was my biggest mistake, and I bombed. I was telling jokes about how when I was with my ex-husband, the craziness that went on when he was in the hospital, and they're just looking at me like, "Oh no, grandpa." They were so young and so confused by why I thought this was funny. I was talking about how my ex was so out of his mind in the hospital that he took his catheter out, but he pulled it halfway and he's bleeding. And then he pulled it the rest of the way out and I wasn't there. And he's telling me the story. And I said, well, you know, if you got it halfway out and it was bleeding and everything, why'd you do that? He goes, well, I don't want to do anything halfway. And I thought that was the most stupid thing I had ever heard for in a hospital situation, you know. So I was telling this joke thinking it was going to get laughs, and I think people were just really, really sad, you know, really sad for me. So I broke the first rule of comedy: know your audience, like pay attention to who you're talking about and where they are in life and that sort of thing. Because, you know, some jokes are not going to go over with an older crowd or a younger crowd, or, you know, you can't tell dirty jokes to kids, right? So you got to know who you're talking to.
Yes.
And I don't even tell a lot of dirty jokes. I'm probably more of a clean comic, although I will talk about sex once in a while, but just to briefly mention it mostly.
Yeah, that's like me too. The
Yeah.
only time I get rowdy is if the crowd is rowdy and won't pay attention. I will stop at nothing to shut them up.
Oh, I had to come up with a way to stop someone who more than hecklers. I get people who just want to add to the conversation, you know, and that's something that I think that everybody should know when coming to comedy. Is like, we love you, but we don't need you to add to the conversation. If we're on stage, it's not a one-on-one thing; it's a one-to-many. So, you know, try to just listen and laugh. But so when people add to the conversation, being that I used to be a kindergarten teacher for a short period of time, I will put up the like, 5, 4, 3, 2. Are we going to listen? Okay. So
That's good.
sometimes that helps.
So we got a question in the Janet Stewart, my friend on Facebook Live, wants to know specifically, how do you help people through stage fright? What are some things that you do to help them?
Okay, well, I first of all do not believe in the picture everyone in your underwear. But first of all, I don't want to know what people look like under their clothes. You can just keep those clothes on. Just keep those on. But I tell them, you know, that it's really common, but you want to at least have one or two familiar faces that you can talk to mostly in the audience if you're nervous. So if you bring some people, fine. If you can't, make friends, okay? So no matter if you're giving a speech, a presentation, if you have some friendly faces in the audience, then you can talk more to those people and it won't feel like a big presentation or a big anything. It'll feel more like more of a conversation, you know, more extemporaneous, where you can say whatever's on your mind and you can actually think rather than get nervous about what you're trying to say.
Like that. That's
Yeah.
great tip. That's really great. So if there's any other questions in the audience there, let us know. A lot of people.
Oh, and be prepared is the other one. If you're, the more prepared you are, obviously the more less nervous, but that whole be friends with the audience is really helpful.
Yeah, the more prepared you are.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I do for my stage fright?
What?
I Okay, so like this is gonna sound really weird, meditational, Eastern, whatever, but it works for me. Is that why did I start letting funny come out of me? It was
Oh.
because my family, my parents went through the Holocaust and they were severely depressed. And I wanted so badly to make them laugh and be in the
Oh.
moment. And so before I go on stage, I connect with that original feeling of why I even started being funny. And I take that with me. And like my passion to make you laugh has to be equal to my original passion that I got into comedy for. And I try to bring that, I don't know, I guess you call it intensity. Like, like I really, like some people are real laid back and they just monotone through their set. I don't. I'm like, I'm one of those, and
Yeah, I try to be silly too. I love that. That is phenomenal way of thinking about it. I'm mostly giving that whole like stage fright, speech anxiety to students who are doing like a speech they've prepared. So yeah, but you know, the intention thing, wow, that works really well for comedy. Why am I here? What makes me want to be on stage? That's fantastic. I love it.
It's, like, I used to be, so many, like, I was a banker, and every job I ever had, they wanted me to do phone sales. And so I was this phone salesperson, and in phone sales, every day you start at zero. All the sales
Yeah.
made yesterday don't. So you had to, like, trick F your mind to get excited about the stupid product you were selling. And that's kind of like comedy. You have to bring a fresh, make, your excitement, your connection to your original goal to make people laugh. It has to be fresh. That's kind of where it came from. Does that even make sense, what I
Oh,
said?
totally makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. Yeah. Um, and and I also like to think about being outside the box, but I have to be me. If I just have weird reactions, so I just go with it. I don't try to tame my my nonverbal. I don't try to tame my verbal. I don't I don't like to get dirty, but I mean, there are moments where I can be nerdy. There's moments where I can be just telling the worst dad joke ever, but if it fits in what I'm saying, I'm gonna throw it out there. Why not? And I also have the best time riffing off of my friends too. I just think it's really fun.
So when was like, does that happen every time that you are inspired to riff off your friends, or does it just, you just go with it when it comes to you?
Well, I do have a few sets that are my go-to sets. Like I talk about like some bad dates I've had, and I changed it up a little bit. So that's always kind of amusing, and I worked on that pretty. So that's pretty polished, I would say. But then there's stuff that just happens that you just have to talk about. Like last night, I talked about how one of my coworkers at CSN, God love her, and I won't tell you her real name, but her name is, I'll just call her Natalie. So Natalie is just this biology whiz. She can teach you science, but she just day to day has some naivete, right? So she was trying to convince everyone in the room, because we wait for people to come in for tutoring. She was trying to convince everyone in the room that Paisley is a gang sign. And I was like, what? Paisley? She said she's dead set on this. I said, no, 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 you're absolutely wrong. She goes, well, the Crips use Paisley. I'm like, no. And so we looked it up, and she's looking at the bandanas. They're blue with Paisley. She's like, look, Paisley. I'm like, it's not about the Paisley. And so we're looking up. So we're looking all this stuff up, and she's like, oh, there's some videos on how to be a gang member. And I was like, what? She's like, well, look at this one. It's called Crip Walking. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, well, what about this one? It's called Gang Banging. I'm like, okay, wait, this one is definitely not about the gangs. So stuff like this just happens to me, where it's just so funny. You have to talk about it immediately on stage. And I swear she will argue with you that Paisley is a gang sign for the Crips. It's so funny. It cracks me up.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
right. So, I mean, some of that just stuff just sort of happens to me. And I'm like, I'm going to talk about this on stage. You guys they all know that I'm a comic. So anytime that you say anything funny, oh, that's probably going to be said, in one of my sets.
Absolutely. So what is something that has touched your heart that you'll never forget that you've experienced?
Um, I really loved, I went to New York City, in, I think it was maybe the end of last year, beginning of this year, for an Elro party. Cause, that's this big, like outer space themed DJ festival. It's great. And it was really wonderful. And so we went all over New York City, but I, contacted, Danny D, who's a friend of mine from Sacramento. She's a comedian, and she just headlined in my show yesterday, and she actually hooked me up with a comedian in New York City who helped me find a really great open mic. So I did comedy in New York City, and I'm probably the proudest of that, because I think that's the furthest away from home I've done comedy. I mean, I've done it in other cities I've kind of been around, but yeah, I did comedy in Tampa, in New York City, and in Louisville, Kentucky. And I actually find comics when I'm on the road too. I'm like, hey, if you're ever in Vegas, I really liked your set, contact me and I will put you in my show. So, and I actually had the Louisville comedy, CBD is his name. He actually came all the way from Kentucky to headline in my show in Vegas. So I've been very blessed.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
I've done comedy in New York 3 different extended times in my life. Where did you perform comedy in New York?
At the Sour Mouse. So it's just a bar that has an open mic on Delancey Street in Brooklyn. It was so fun. We had such a good time.
Some of those Brooklyn comedy shows and mics are fabulous.
Oh, they're so everybody has really been so supportive, which I find so refreshing. You know, sometimes people are just competitive a lot in different arenas, but I think in comedy, people are a lot more supportive, especially in Vegas. Anyways, I've really enjoyed working with the comics I have, and I've met a lot of great talent, and I can't wait to. I mean, I'm trying to book people for shows all the way into October. I'm so excited about all the talent I'm finding.
That's fabulous. Yeah,
Yeah.
people are really talking highly about how you handle your business. There's
Oh,
the,
thank you.
there's the comedy side and then there's the business side. So what would you like to tell people that has shocked you or that's important for them to know? Because people that go to comedy don't know the
Mhm.
first thing about business, and sometimes comics don't.
Well, I learned quite a bit of the business aspect from my boyfriend DJ Baker, who has come all the way from Florida. He used to host a weekly. It was the drum and basement show where he was in Ybor City doing that weekly. So he already was running a weekly. He knew about doing a show. So he was the one who said, "Hey, you know, we need to get together and do our own show." He actually named Baja Beats. He's very clever. And so he helps me to really make an in with the owner, and he helped us to really get the show started. And so, you know, setting up the deal on how are we going to sort of pay for our show that's fair, because we were up and coming and everything, has really been enlightening. So I would say loyalty is key. Making sure you communicate well with whoever is helping you with the show. And if anybody is offering to help, you know, make sure that you are very fair to them. You're very loyal to them, and you are generous with whatever you can offer to help them with in the future as well. So it's always like a two-way street. And make sure that if there's any issues that happen or arise, or you know, at a bar, there's always someone who gets a little out of line. You know, make sure everything is smoothed over, because this is your show. This is what your livelihood will be built on someday. So you want to make sure that, you know, your name is not being, you know, talked about negatively.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a lot of comedians, so we're going to go back to you being a comedian because you've
Okay.
headlined, you've done comedy around the country. So what is something about other headliners, people you look up to that have been around the business that has really impressed you? Because you like to look at the positive. So let's break
Yeah.
down some of the positive things you've noticed.
Well, I like people who show up early and stay late, you know, and that's the kind of person I am, you know. And I've had comics tell me, "Oh, don't take pictures of other comics and send that to them, because you know people get paid for that." I said, "Well, that's not my thing. If I'm going to take a picture of my other comics, and because I like them, I want to use them in shows, or I just want to get to know them, I'm going to send them the photos I take. I'm going to take the best photos I can of whoever my friends are, whoever the people I think are talented, even short little videos, because that's their property, that's their image. So I send that to them immediately, even though I don't care about, you know, the small amount I would make if I held it back and said, "Hey, I can give it to you, but only for $10." You know, or whatever. It's not my business. My business is, you know, networking and making sure that everybody knows that if you come do my show, you're going to have a good time. I don't care if there's 5 people in the audience or 105 people in the audience. Everyone who's there is there to listen to you and to laugh. They're not waiting for the next guy. They're not sitting there because they have nothing else to do. They want to be there, and they're really supportive. And I've been really, really grateful to every person who's come and been an audience member, because honestly, that's it. That's your jam. If you can get a good audience at your show, oh my gosh, I am just so blessed. I'm so blessed.
That's the whole goal is to have an
Yeah.
audience that's present, in the moment, really paying attention. How are you going to have a show if people are not paying attention
Right.
or
Yeah.
don't care, or they're waiting for their friend? Or so if you've picked out, you've got the corner on a good audience, then that's the show above all shows.
Well, every comic so far, knock on wood, that I've had has said, "Hey, I'll come ask me to do another show. I will gladly come back and perform for you again. I had a really good time, and I pay my comics, plus I give them a free drink and a plus one. And so and the same goes for the DJs that Gary books and everything. So, and we have a great group of supportive friends that usually always shows up, and I know I just can't ask for any more. I, would love for great things to keep happening, as long as you're a good person, you put good vibes out into the world and you try hard, I think that you get what you deserve.
That's perfect. I
Yeah.
love that. I wish, can you say it one more time so people really get it?
As long as you're a good person and you put good vibes out into the world, I think that you will get what you deserve.
I love that. There's
Yeah.
so many people that are out, uh, not necessarily putting out good vibes. And we try really hard to focus only on the good, but there is, 1 in 100 people that will, and I'm just counting on, it's a crazy fakakta world we're living in right now for many
Yeah.
reasons. I'm just counting on the hope that good is going to win over, love will win over hate.
You have to believe in it, really. It's part of it is just believing that the good thing is just around the corner. Even if something is going crazy wrong, I just try to find the humor in it, write the joke story about it, keep it in my back pocket and know that, this too shall pass, right? And we will get beyond that. It's just a stepping stone in the journey of life, and the craziness that's about to show up at your door tomorrow. So you gotta have fun and roll with the punches and laugh. You gotta just laugh.
You have to. There's
Yeah.
been quite a few people on here that have come through for my show. There's been quite a few live that have come on. Your friend, then Donna Lee, I
Yeah.
and Simone C. Kramer, and then
Oh yeah.
Janet Stewart. So you did a
Yay.
good job of bringing on some live people. Thank you so much for that.
Hi, Simone. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, now that we're kind of, what is your goal before? Like, I'm 71 years old. Before
Okay.
you get to 71 and die at 73, let's say. Okay, 120. How long do you want me
There
to
you go.
stick around? And
I don't know. Ever.
before before you get old and kick the bucket, what do you want to accomplish with you and your boyfriend, with your son, with comedy? What are your goals?
I just want to go as far as I'm supposed to go in this business. I will just keep doing my thing, keep, being a good vibe and bringing laughs to the world. I would love to have a Netflix special. I would love to get, to have a spot at the LA Comedy Club, if that's the thing. I would love to be on The Dirty. I would love to be on some of these shows, and have a running show where or I have a friend, Chris Clarks, who's really funny. He did his cruise ships, so I would love to be doing this just full time, and devoting all my time to just hearing that vibrato, that harmony of laughter from the audience, and making someone's day better, really.
Yes. Did you say your friend on cruise ships, his name was Chris Clark?
Yes, Chris Snacks Clark.
Oh yeah, Sea Snacks. I love him.
Yes, C Snacks. He's the best.
I adore him. I'm glad he's on cruise ships.
Yeah, he's doing a tour with some comedian, some twins guys that are comedians. I don't remember their name. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Chris. But I'm gonna book Chris C Snacks in my October 8th show at the Baja Beats, at the Mint Tavern, and I really appreciate Mark and the Mint Tavern for having our show for the last year. They are good people. They have a great showroom, and it's just super fun in there always.
I've heard nothing but good. And as soon as I get back from my New York trip, I'll be back to check out the very next time I can get in there.
Awesome. We would love it.
Tell me where on social media we can follow you, your boyfriend, your shows.
Right.
We want to
You can,
support you. You're a good person.
yeah, thank you. I'm at Anna Marie Hamel on Facebook and Anna Marie Hamel on Twitter and Anna Marie Hamel on Instagram. I do have a website, thebananaissilent.com, where I did have an an Instagram account under the Banana Silent, but it got hacked recently, so I'm trying to get it back. But I do have my website, thebananasilent.com, and I try to keep that up to date for upcoming shows and everything. Thanks to Anna Lynn Braza. I appreciate her for hosting my website. But the bananasilent.com is also bajabeats.com. So you can get information there for both.
So where
So,
did
yeah.
the term banana come into your life?
Oh, okay. So the first joke I ever wrote in my early 20s was this. Hi, my name is Anna Banana Marie. The banana silent. That's the only silent thing, but the banana is definitely silent. So that's sort of how I rolled with that. And so now people call me Banana. I have bananas on my sticker. And the worst part is that my boyfriend hates bananas, but he's lived with the banana ideas and the banana stuffed things and the blankets and stickers. And yeah, he's polluted with bananas. He doesn't eat them, but he likes the other stuff.
That's hilarious.
And then,
That was your first joke?
yeah.
That's so brilliant.
Yeah, so I kept it. Yeah, I still perform it. I love that one. That one's silly. And I think that's what I would like my Netflix special to be called, The Banana is Silent. You know, something silly like that. But and then my boyfriend DJ Baker, he has Baker Acted Productions, and he owns bakeracted.com, and you can find him on Facebook at Baker Acted, which is actually a Florida term. His last name is Baker, and the guy who did the 72-hour psych hold in Florida was also Baker, so they call it the Baker Act. And the slang term in Florida is getting Baker acted. So that's something he grabbed when he could, and he owns the website and everything to bakeracted.com. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat. So he can really sell merch anywhere in Florida because the Baker Acted is the psych hold, which is silly. But he's a drum and bass. That's a specialty, drum and bass DJ. And he just rocks so much. I love it. I posted some things on my Facebook of some of his performances, but he's actually going to be at Desert Boom on Sunday at 11 p.m. on the 10th. That's the next show he does. So I go with him to music festivals all over the country too. So we have such a good time together. We just really do.
That's so great. You have quite a life. You have a 13-year-old son, and you have a wonderful boyfriend. You got out of a marriage. Yeah. And you've been headlining and going around the country. I'm so happy for you.
Oh, I'm so excited. I feel like this is everything I've always wanted to do, and I'm finally doing it in my 40s. But I don't let age stop me. It's just a number. I actually am proud. I'm going to be 46 in July, and I'm very proud about that. It's never too late to follow your dreams.
No.
So yeah.
I started very young. I started at 63.
Oh, that is young. I mean, it's all in how you feel, honestly. It's all in how you
That's
feel.
it.
Yeah.
No, I feel young. What's your problem?
I know, right?
Just because you're 25 and you have arthritis from football.
One of my very best friends is 79. She just turned 79. She's a tutor that I work with, Mickey Flansburgh, and she's so funny. And I don't know whether I should think of her as my grandma, my mom, my friend, or like that girlfriend that just talks dirty shit to you, So it's the best. She's so funny. Plus she's obsessed with serial killers, which is so weird. And she tutors psychology, so I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm trying to figure this out.
I only have one morbid joke that I tell, and I just love telling it because people,
Tell it.
Okay, so people tell me that I look like Marilyn Monroe, and I'm like, she's dead. Try harder. And they're like, well, okay, you look amazeballs. Amazeballs? What am I going to do with amazeballs? Google it. It has balls in it. And if we learned nothing from Nancy Grace, we now know they check your hard drive right after you kill your third husband. You ever notice that they check your hard drive after the second or third death?
Oh my God.
They never check it. Like I they exhume a body after the third one goes missing. It's crazy. Like the three best things do come in threes, I guess. I don't know where to. Anyway, that's a fun one to do because people don't expect me to say it, but I say it.
Right? Oh, I love it. I love it.
What's your funnest joke? And we'll kind of quit on that.
I think my funniest joke is when I'm telling my dating set and I talk about our friend, I call him Big Doug, and I say, you know, you guys, you can meet weird guys at the bar too. That's how I met Big Doug. I mean, so Big Doug was really nice and he bought me a few drinks and we chatted and suddenly he said, "What was your name again?" And I said, "Anna Marie." And he said, "Oh my God." I said, "What?" He goes, "I have your name tattooed on my ass." What? First of all, it's Anna hyphen Marie. You're never going to have a hyphen. Let me just tell you right now. And he's like, "No, I swear to God." And after a few drinks, I let Big Doug show me his ass. And sure enough, this guy has two lips and the words "your name" tattooed in the middle. It's actually true. One of my friends really has that tattoo. It's so crazy.
That's hilarious.
I know. We tried to pull it on our friends he hasn't met. I'm like, "Hey, he has your name tattooed on his ass." It's really fun.
He should go around and say, if I bet you that your name is tattooed on my butt or on my ass. And then you go, if I could prove it, will you have sex with me?
I'll let him know your tip for sure.
You get laid a lot with that one.
I never asked him what the head count on that was. Head count.
I heard that double entendre.
Yeah.
This has been so fun to get to know you. Thank you so
Yay.
much.
Oh,
sorry
thank
it took us so long.
You. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
I'm so grateful. This has been
Yay.
a joy. It's really been a joy to get to know comedians. Each and every one has something so unique. And what stands out in my mind about you is the mention you had to karma and how it was reiterated by looking for the good in people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It seems like that's your present day legacy. So kudos.
Yeah. For sure. I'm a big.
If you want a good show to go to when you come to Vegas, if you want to hit up a good person who might be able to give you stage time on her show, this is the lady to hit up. Anna Marie with a hyphen in between. Hamel, Hamel. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a good rest of your day. See you around.
Thank you.
Love you lots. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.